Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to DCS. And welcome to the Sinai Map. New, freshly available to us, recording on the day of release. And delivered to us before the 15E Razbam. Anyway, we are going to do a brief overview of the Sinai Map. We're obviously in the F-16C. An aircraft that is flown by the Egyptian Air Force. We do not have an Egyptian Air Force paint scheme today. We have the Iranian Air Force, which those of you aware of the whole conflict between Iran and most other countries in the Middle East understand the irony behind this, but they don't have a Egyptian Air Force livery available. So we're going to use the Iranian Air Force today. And let's hop into the map and see what we can see from where we're going. Let's go ahead and get started here. Alright, kicking off our overview of the Sinai Map. So for those of you unfamiliar, this is the northern tip of Africa. We've got a portion of Egypt here. Obviously, we've got the... Oh, can I go south? This portion down here, there's rumors of this portion being connected to the, not Syria, the Persian Gulf map. Because Abu Dhabi and Dubai and all those guys would be just a little ways over this way. But not as of yet, but we do have some very cool landmarks on this map. As it is, you've got the Suez Canal, where the good old Ever Given got stuck. Cairo, obviously one of the, I believe the capital city of Egypt. And all of the nice pyramids of Giza that go along with it. We'll be taking a look at those as well. Obviously, you've got nice oceanfront. I think this is ocean, or is this tech? No, this is ocean. Oceanfront, so some coastal options here. Some ports. If you wanted to do like a naval strike, have some adversary ships parked here. But let's stop screwing around in the main map. Let's get down ground level and see what's going on. Now, I do want to say that initially, I think performance on the map is very good, but I think that's for a reason, and we'll get into that now that we're actually in a relatively densely populated area. One, I don't like these ground textures, and again, this is day one of the map release, so we're going to be a little bit lenient, but I mean, even the, I don't know, the ground texturing in urban environments to me looks trash. I would almost rather just be like a plain sand, like what you see right here everywhere. This makes it look trash ridden, and I'm sorry, Cairo is not trash ridden. Plain and simple. The buildings are very, very repetitive. It looks like only, I don't know, maybe half a dozen or so different assets repeated over and over. You can see the buildings with the red balconies. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a ton of them in just this field right here. The satellite dishes, same deal. I think there's too many of them, and I think that they are a little bit too generic looking. Obviously, you do have a little bit different weathering on one versus the other here, but I don't know. When you consider some of the variety that we've gotten in other maps, I think it could use a little bit of work. Let me actually turn off my EMB, and this is what you will see without a reshader. So I guess this is what we'll do the rest of the review in, is without reshade on. Looks like you do get a few bespoke buildings here and there, just kind of sprinkled in. But for the most part, it is just this almost like early Soviet looking flat block. I mean, they're not nearly as symmetrical as Soviet buildings, but I mean, look at this. You have one building and then an literally identical building, satellite dishes, air conditioning units, balconies, and all right behind it. And I think this one over here is the same building, just rotated. Am I right? I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. So the building variety, at least in Cairo, definitely could use some work. But let's not focus on the negatives. Let's go check out some pyramids. Is this the one with these? Yeah, okay. So these are the more famous pyramids that everyone goes to visit. They're less known pyramids that away, but these are the ones everyone comes to visit. You can see the Sphinx down here. A little bit lacking on detail. Funny enough, the faux Sphinx in the NTTR map has better detail, especially on the facial features. And I understand the real Sphinx is severely weather eroded, but not to this degree. I mean, you know, they took the time to model in the brick lining. You know, you could have given the Sphinx some facial features. Maybe it has to do with copyright that they couldn't get from the Egyptian government. I'm not sure. I do like how they modeled the degradation on the pyramid. That's relatively accurate. But once you get up to the summit of the pyramid, I think isn't that what you call the top of it? I mean, the summits are usually for mountains, but the tip of the pyramid's really kind of lacking some detail. This is actually, there's a little bit of infrastructure. There's, I think, like an anti-collision light and maybe a radio antenna or two on the top. And just overall, the textures on the pyramids look a little bit lackluster. These are relatively jagged, not like in harsh 90-degree angles, but they're pretty jagged bricks going up this way. And it would be nice to see a little bit of that more reflected. Funny enough, once you get to a distance, they look pretty good, but you get up close and no. And maybe that's how it was designed, was to look good from a distance, because I mean, realistically, you're not going to be flying too much low-level stuff. I do like the modeled visitor center they have there, and I like the detail on the entry points of each. Where are you? Are you on? Okay, other pyramid. I could. What? Am I losing it? There it is. Little sort of entry points on the pyramids where you can actually go inside. So that aspect is nice. Let's go over to look at some other buildings. And it looks like a little bit more variety here. But again, for the most part, it does look like recycled assets. So this building right here, I believe, is the same, or at least not significantly distinguishable from the building here. And again, you still have that weird, is this supposed to be like simulated gravel or something? Ground texturing. Again, I would rather it just be plain Blaine, like what's in the center of the road here. This is too dull. I think this is fine. I don't know what's going on here. And maybe it would be better if it was slightly higher texture, but even when you get up to like a reasonable flight altitude, it just looks, I don't know, kind of dingy. And again, Cairo is not quite like that. So, let's head to the coastline. The coastline actually will look a little bit at a slightly more rural environment while DCS figures out that it's a simulator. Oh. Hello? Hello? Oh boy, I done it now. Oh yeah, you gotta reload everything in that F-16, huh? There you go. Okay. F10. There we go. Rural environment looking pretty nice, actually. I think I definitely prefer it to some of the more built-up urban areas, but again, there's that ground texture. And it's not clean cut, so you know, you've got like a country road going north to south here, and this little gravel texture just goes right through it. If you were doing this gravel, and again, there's those red balcony buildings again, but if you were doing this, you would assume this path here existed to the point where it should be driven on by cars or tractors, whatever drives out here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that as time goes on, because again, this is like day one. I came home, saw that this was available, downloaded it, and now I'm talking to you guys. So I'm assuming this is a very early access version of the map, and we'll see some improvements. Do you like the little canal there flowing? Really, really underwhelming coastline here. I mean, you've got just the slightest ridge, and I can't really speak for the coast of Egypt, but I would imagine there's a little bit more height variance in this. I mean, this is ocean. That's ocean. You've got a little bit more waves here, but I mean, even here, like the beaches are they're just flat. Like you can't tell me that there's I mean, this entire city here, by like rising tides, potentially would be flooded. I don't know. Oh, look, more gravel. Yeah, I don't know. Like the detail on the power grid running that way. Let's go check out the port that I was excited about before. There you are, friend. And into the port. Looks like we've got some repeated ED ships in the port. The Sardine. Obviously, we've got the Seagulls as well. I do have the game paused, so that's why they're not moving. They are animated, I promise. Another Sardine, so just the same asset repeated again. A little bit of build-up here. Funny enough, more build-up on the port areas than on some of the natural landscape, which is interesting. There's a sailboat and a... well, that's actually very good detail. Is this a recycled asset from somewhere else? That's very good detail on this little boat. Vehicles appear to be... oh no, okay, so this is... what is this, like a Renault of some kind? And he even has Egyptian plates. That's pretty nice. And then we've got what looks like a Range Rover Evoque 4-door, maybe? With... I don't know, they're yellow. I wanted to say British plates, but obviously that wouldn't make sense. Let me get a little closer. Yeah, I don't know where that's from, but... there's your little Range Rover Evoque knockoff in front of, I don't know, like a Transit or something. Sprinter van, probably, actually. This vehicle's looking pretty nice. This looks like a Altima, not an Altima, Nissan Sentra, maybe. So it does look like we do have some more vehicles added in, or maybe it's a Hyundai Sonata, or Elantra, I mean. Hyundai Elantra from the front, but then you come around the back and those look like Sentra taillights to me. Do we have any other vehicles to look at? These are all looking like the same vehicles repeated in different colors. Maybe it's just this part of the city. There's more of that gravel texturing. Again, you've got this roadway, and then you come to this parking area, and it's just this weird gravelly texture. Really not a fan of that. Let's take a look. Inventory of the buildings here. Are we getting the same recycled stuff to the point where it's painful? Yeah, these are quite literally just mirrored air conditioning vents on one side and the satellite dishes on the other. I was actually willing to forgive the satellite dishes all pointing in the same direction, because in reality that's what you would have, but that seems to not be the case, because you've got building A with satellite dishes pointing to the north. Oh, my mouse. Come back, mouse. And then building B, where they're pointed to the south, because these are just mirrored assets. A lot of these buildings actually looking in our immediate field of vision. Ignore the poor LOD. I think that's a setting with my version of DCS. Seems like once you get within a pretty consistent range, things tend to render in just fine. So I'm assuming that's my copy. Some trucks here. What are these? Man, maybe? I don't think they're Scanias based off of the Headlights, I can't tell. All non-branded vehicles, which is fine. I understand that. Vehicle branding is expensive for game devs, so we'll be willing to let that go. Some nice trailers here. Looks like 2 different models, at least. I'm not sure if the cargo container is like a separate asset that they just plunked on there, and then the actual moving vehicles are going to be... These guys were now unpaused. It's like these guys are all parked. I will say now I'm well inside of LOD range. The word cargo on almost all of these just seems a little bit blurry, doesn't it? Yeah, even on the ships, it's not well defined, especially so if you get like up close, you can read never rusty, which is funny because it probably is, versus cargo. So never greener. I like that, ever given. That's funny. What are these power stations here? Looks like fully modeled smokestacks, which we like. Fuel tanks, I would assume. Yeah, flammable. Fuel tanks. This looks like maybe a offloading point for like oil tankers, because you've got the big, yeah, so. Although these aren't LNG carriers, these are bulk cargo, so like minerals or ore or something like that. And then obviously you've got the cargo or the container ships behind it. But I don't know, maybe they interchange out. I don't know the port in real life. Same water treatment facility as what we saw in Cairo. Reasonably modeled. I mean, the water doesn't move. We're unpaused again. Water doesn't move. It is, wait, is it moving? No. And no added sounds for the environment here. And I mean, you can obviously hear the wind and like little things here and there, but you would imagine this station here would be making all kinds of noise. It just isn't. Get the occasional vehicle driving by. So that is our port city. Are these all coming off of trucks, or is this a railroad depot? Doesn't make sense to me. Let's go back to the... Actually, let's go over here. What are you guys? More of the same stuff? It looks like mostly more of the same stuff. Yeah. Let's go back to the F10. See what else we can see. Anything interesting to the west? Not really looking like it. This looks like more of the same blocks. Let's take a look at this building over here. What are you? Oh, just a repeated power station. Yeah, again, nearly identical assets. In fact, fully identical assets, just repeated. 1, 2, and 3, all the way down. So yeah, just a lot of that, which is fine. Let's go F10 again. Let's take a look at the Suez Canal, because I want to see if what the modeling there looks like. Looks like we've got a couple stadiums to take a look at. I'm hitting Control F11, and DCS is just not having it. So here we go. There's a football pitch. Oh, too far. Pretty crude football pitch, actually. This looks arguably worse than the football pitch pitches in the Caucasus maps. Everything's relatively low poly. Lower resolution. Good resolution on the bezels around the stadium lighting, but I mean everything else just eh. And I guess I'm not expecting like a fully modeled anything or something like that, but a little bit of extra detail would be nice. So look, a new vehicle. We've got a bus. Are you an Iveco? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not good with non-USDM vehicles as a whole. Another bulk carrier. I don't remember, did the ones we saw before have the twin smokestacks? I'm gonna assume that they did. Yeah, because all of the other ones here do, so I think that would be a safe assumption to make. Let's go check out the Suez Canal. Where'd you go? There you are. So here is the canal. I'm not seeing a whole lot for like control points and that sort of stuff. There is this really big antenna mast array. Or no, these are power lines. Never mind. Big power lines. They go up and over so the ships can get by, and then they come down to this transformer. And then, I don't know, osmosis, I guess, happens. And then through PFM, they, the P's for pure, the M's for magic. You can figure out the F. Then they go back over to here to the grid. I don't know. It's a landmark. We won't get too greedy. And then over here, they, again, more of that PFM going on. They go into there, go over there, and go over there from the power station. And then continue on that way. Continuing on the Suez Canal. I mean, I don't really know what I was expecting to see here. Ooh. Okay. Is this, like one of the guideways? Or is this like where vehicles would get on and off of a ferry, maybe? I don't know. Like, there's ramps. And then there's a ramp there. Someone tell me what this is used for, or what you think it's used for. Continuing on the Suez Canal. It's really not much. Some nice buoys. Same repeated Eagle Dynamics buoys that we've seen many times before. That guide you through the canal. Are these buoys real? I feel like they're not, but let me know. And then they stop. So that is the Suez Canal. Looks like there's an airstrip here as well. And that's one other thing we'll take a look at are the airfields. So it looks like you've got a very similar, it does look retouched and remodeled. Oh no, it's actually all the way through, so it's a pull-through hangar. Yeah, no, this is entirely new actually. So that's cool to see. I like that. New hangar models. Looks like some cluster munitions or maybe like inert weapons sitting there. Relatively small airstrip. Obviously of military use primarily given those hangars. Fish farms, maybe? I'm not sure what goes on there. Back to the F-10. So we looked at the Suez Canal. Let's go back to Cairo real quick. We'll look at the airfield here. You can see obviously the civilian, oh, hello, civilian terminal. Sort of different model of truck that looks like a very derpy Volvo of some kind. Another little low poly fuel truck. You a tug? No, that's a that's for loading munitions, I believe, actually. Oh, mouse, come back. Mouse, please come back. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so they've got like munitions just chilling out here on the civilian side of the ramp. Believe this is a mosque? Oh, look, there's the gazelle that we started the video with. Very nice high poly bus, especially compared to some of the other ones we've seen. I mean, it's not immaculate, but it's good. This is, I'm assuming, an animated driving bus. Yeah. So, it's good to see. Building under construction. Good detail there. No complaints from me. back onto the trucks there. What else do we have going on at Cairo? So it looks like we've got some more of these pull-through hangars that we saw before. And then these guys, I don't actually know the official term for these, but effectively they protect, obviously not from direct hits, but if you had a bomb land really close, it wouldn't damage the aircraft, or would do minimal damage to the aircraft. Barracks? Question mark? Maybe? I don't... Not sure. That is Cairo International. Then you've got some non-pull-through hangars. Do we have jet blast ramps? No, you don't. So I guess they just pull their aircraft out, because that door would not survive very long if you didn't. Okay, so that is Cairo. Let's look now at Cairo West. Oh, no, that was Cairo West. Now let's go look at Cairo International. And again, we're doing this with near zero assets loaded. So the map is a little bit peppier than you'll probably get once you start adding assets to it. Some okay looking jetways, jet bridges, sky bridges, whatever you want to call them. More of those buses and trucks from before. I'm not expecting any of this to be modeled internally, which is fine. Well, some of it... Okay, no, that's a rooftop. Roadways to the terminal. Control tower. And I doubt there's any military stuff going on here. Some really nice open-air hangars. Or a open-air hangar that I spotted. And then there's one more I saw over there. Not sure for feasibility for parking, but you probably could park here if you wanted to. Big roll-up door on that guy. Then a lower ceiling hangar here. So that is Cairo International whistle stop tour. Now we can, let's take a look at some of the less populated areas. Here's our first big boy tug we've seen. All right. On to the desert. So let's go out this way and just see what the desert scenery looks like. So we are currently... Never mind, that's not going to load. I like the desert from altitude, actually. It looks good. And then if you throw reshade back, oh, man. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty dang good. I would expect textures to kind of fall apart as we get closer, because, I mean, unless you're playing this on combined arms, and I mean, it's actually pretty good to a relatively low altitude. And this is just one section of the desert that we're cruising in. But I mean, you can go pretty much anywhere, I would imagine. And again, obviously we're doing this in real time, so pop and LOD and all that stuff's going to affect your play experience. But I mean, all in all, I like the desert aspect of it. Now, granted, there's a lot of other maps where you have a decent enough desert to fly in, and you might already own those maps. So, looks like we've got another little airport here. I'm guessing this is a military strip based on the pull-through hangars. And all of the munitions and fuel stored how it is. Small ramp for non-fighters, maybe. Look, and there's the coast. Back to... Hold on, I saw something over here. I think I overflew it. I did. It's like a distribution center of some kind. Trucks backed into the dock bays. Alright, let's see what else is worth showing here. So we looked at Cairo, we looked at the pyramids here, we looked at Cairo International. I guess we can look at the delta here. Look at the delta in a second. Come on, DCS. Work with me. No. Control F11. You can do it. I believe in you. There you go. Another single runway airstrip. This one very small. Some essentially sun shelter hangars. These aren't protecting against anything, really, other than the sun. Relatively good detail on these buildings. So maybe that's what it is just the airfield buildings are where the current attention to detail was spent. And they'll get to the other stuff later on, which I can appreciate. Again, day one release, so we're being very lenient here with the negatives that we do see. Heck, even this guard tower looks pretty dang good. Right, to the F10. We already saw that. And that. Alright, well. We'll take a quick look at this mostly barren area over here. I'm not expecting much. Yeah, it's just a lot more of the same. Some dried up riverbeds. Boy, that haze is thick. I wonder if that's to aid LOD. Because I have the default weather preset, which normally is not this hazy. But anyway, I think that will do it for a little overview of the new Sinai map. Oh, look, there's an airport here that it's completely unmodeled, but you have a VOR for it. Come on now. Maybe this will come into play later. Look, you can even see the runway markings. There's a touchdown threshold for one of them. Oh, well. Anyway, you guys, that is going to do it for our little overview of the Sinai map. Like I said, day one. So it's obviously still work in progress, and much work does need to be done to progress, in my opinion. But we'll see what goes on in later builds. But until then, thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and as always, take it easy.